We have minor league rosters. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode here at Bucks on Deck. We are that much closer to all of the full season affiliates kicking off their seasons. And on Tuesday, we actually got the full rosters for Greensboro and Bradenton. We had already gotten Altoona's on Monday. So now with all the rosters here, we had already started over on Bucks on Deck to do our season previews for each affiliate. Wilbur does a fantastic job in those. If you don't subscribe to the site, make sure you go and do that. You get access to his fantastic breakdowns. He goes position by position, breaks everything down. You get two articles per affiliate, one for pitchers, one for hitters. So I figured this would be a good opportunity to kind of blend the podcasting thing along with some of our features. I'll do a quick episode on to kind of follow up on what Wilbur talked about each day, and we're going to kick things off with Altoona, and specifically a look at the Altoona hitters. So we're going to start with the catchers, three catchers on the roster: Omar Alfonso, Derek Berg, Sean Ross. If you followed along long enough over at Bucks on Deck, you'll know that I've always been a big Omar Alfonso fan. Struggled once he got to Double A last year. Had a 86 WRC plus and 3 home runs in 49 games. Strikeout rate has been kind of like climbing the further he's moved up the ladder. So I think it's going to come to him kind of playing into that raw power a little bit more, so trying to see if he can tap into even more of it and kind of maybe probably sacrifice a little bit of the hit tool. But Derek Berg, one of the best defensive catchers in the system, threw out 44% of would-be base stealers. He did get better hitting at each level. The strikeout rate dropped maybe a little bit. That being said, it was only a 9-game sample size in Altoona, so we'll kind of see how it goes. I imagine that Alfonso will get the majority of the playing time behind the plate. Berg will kind of back him up. They'll rotate around. They'll probably get in at first some. Sean Ross, he's an interesting guy. He's a little bit on the older end for a prospect. He's a 3 true outcome type of hitter: walk, home run, strikeout. Has a really strong arm behind the plate. So he'll play some. He was in Indianapolis last year, so he's obviously down in Altoona as the depth guy. I know he there's a little bit of excitement there because how he did in spring training, but I probably wouldn't read too much into those results. And I think his assignment going from AAA to AA kind of just proves that for him. I don't think this is a scenario of let's put him in AA so he can get more at bats, because I would probably say that the majority of them are probably going to go to Alfonso and Derek Berg. But shifting over to the infielders, Jack Brannigan, he was assigned here. He will start the season on the injured list, which is unfortunate, seeing as he missed a good chunk of last season with an injury. Was hit in the face by a batted ball during spring training, broke his nose. Hasn't played since then. Other outfielders: Callum Moss, Deuce Gorson, Javier Rivas, Jesus Castillo, Kiner Delgado, Mike Jarvis. Callum Moss, he's kind of a name that I think everyone knows or has heard of. He was part of the Bailey Falter trade. Came to the Pirates organization and just kind of took off. Was the South Atlantic League Player of the Month in August. Hit 6 home runs in 30 games. Batted .339, .422, .571. Undrafted college kid. Went to a D2 school. First baseman, right-handed. AA is going to be kind of like the prove-it ground for him. So we'll see what he can do here. Deuce Gorson, another guy. Deuce is it's kind of funny with Deuce because I think if you've been on the site long enough, you'll know that we've all been pretty high on Deuce Corson. Kind of feels like the secret's out on him. A lot of other publications, a lot of other sites have mentioned him as a potential breakout candidate. Had a really good year last year after a little bit of a slow start. Batted 284, 372, 431 in 56 games at Altoona, 5 home runs, 10 stolen bases. Stole 31 bases, but I think the biggest thing is he had over a 90% stolen base rate, 31 to 34. Doesn't have blazing speed. Pretty good. Kind of versatile defensive, but it's going to be like the bat to ball skills and his prowess on the bases that kind of moves him around. Javi Rivas, another guy, kind of had a breakout year last year. 21 home runs. Did cut the strikeout rate down, although there are still some like contact issues. The contact rates are a little bit below average. He does profile as like a backup utility infielder though that has some power. Defense is going to be his calling card. I know it's easy to gravitate towards the 21 home runs, but he's a really solid defender on the left side of the infield. But that comes with pop. Gonna have a little bit of contact issues. Connor Delgado was acquired a couple years ago from the Yankees. Hit 18 home runs, 18 doubles, 14 home runs, and stole 27 bases last year with Greensboro, a 124 WRC plus. The biggest thing with him is he had an OPS of over 800 against righties, and but then dropped to a 432 OPS against lefties. So pretty wide platoon splits. I thought he was a good candidate to kind of, if they were to cut the switch hitting up and just have him hit left-handed to see maybe if that would help with anything. Doesn't look like that's the case. He got into a spring training game and he against a lefty, and he was batting right-handed, so it looks like he's still a switch hitter. Very versatile, kind of like a do-it-all kind of thing. He can move around the infield, and I think he's pretty solid there. More pop than you would think out of his frame, but I still don't think it's going to be. It's probably never going to be average-ish. It's always going to be probably just a tick below that. And now you're talking about going to Altoona, where it is notoriously hard on left-handed hitters, and that's where most of his power is going to come from. So it'll be kind of interesting to see how the season kind of plays out for him. Jesus Castillo and Mike Jarvis, they'll be both depth backup guys. Jarvis has some experience in the outfield. Castillo plays all over the place. Speaking of switch hitters that aren't hitters anymore, he used to be a switch hitter, and now he's only a right-handed hitter. All right, finally shifting over to the outfield, we have Mitch Jebb, P.J. Hilson, Titus Dimitriou, and Will Taylor. Mitch Jebb, he walked more than he struck out last year. He batted 265, and he has 76 stolen bases over the last 2 years. Put up an amazing 87.7 contact rate with a 4.9 swing and strike rate. Bat to ball skills, some of the best in the entire system. The caveat with that is it comes with little to no power. Didn't hit a home run last year in Double-A. He repeats Double-A. I think a lot of it has to do with there's just not much space for him in Triple-A. It does get him some extra at bats, but then also too Commenter did point out on Bucks and Deck that it did look like the swing was different, and it does look like he's not using as high, or he did mess around with like the leg kick a little bit. I'll have to kind of dig in to see how much of a change that has gone in like year to year. Dimitriou, he's one of my like under the radar like sleeper kind of breakout kind of guys. Batted 245, 335, 415 in 43 games after coming over from the Atlanta Braves. Had a 117 WRC plus compared to a 97 before the deal. And this is playing in the same league. So he's facing the same competition. Yes, he had a little bit of a boost playing at First National Bank Field. But there's still the power's real. the contact rates improved after coming to the Pirates organization, so there might be a little bit there that you might be able to unlock. Will Taylor. Will Taylor batted 262, 373, 458, and had a 138 WRC plus, split in time between Bradenton and Greensboro. Hit 10 of his 14 home runs with Greensboro, stole 23 bases. Contact rates for, like, he hit 14 home runs, but I don't think he's, just judging off the exit velocity data that he had in Bradenton, I don't think he's going to be a guy that is going to hit it for a ton of power, which kind of worries me. The fact that the contact rates were a little bit were below average. So if he's not going to be a big power guy, you're going to want to see the contact and the bat to ball skills to be a little bit better. But again, a little bit like Javier Rivas in a sense, the defense is going to be his calling card. I could see Will Taylor being, he profiles better as like a bench outfielder just because of the defense, and a little bit of speed there, although the stolen base rate wasn't great last year. And finally, you had P.J. Hilson, who is more of a depth guy. He acquired it in the minor league phase of the Rule 5 draft a couple years ago. And he'll just kind of be the fourth outfielder there. That's the hitters for Altoona. Tune in tomorrow, and we'll break down the pitching staff, and then we'll just kind of keep going through each affiliate. Greensboro hitter, Greensboro pitcher, Bradenton, and then at the end of that, I'll kind of touch on a couple things. We'll be into a little bit deeper in there and stuff like that, but yeah, thanks for tuning in. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast, get updates whenever everything comes out. Subscribe to Bucks on Deck Substack for daily content on the Pirates organization. I'm gonna be in Greensboro next week, so there'll be plenty of video and stuff like that comes out then. So make sure you're subscribed. So like the paid subscribers get first look, first access, that kind of stuff to it. And have a great day. We'll see you guys next time.